Hello, my name is Brother Hest, and I'm coming to speak to you about different things that are going on in my life. You know, the things that has transpired to build the program that we call P.O.P.S. Inside of step 2, I spoke to you about identifying the problem, you know, and one of the things that we do in identifying the problem in this program is the words that feed our thoughts. They usually bring us to negative results, and that starts in the mind. That means that it's mandatory that we express the root of the problem and understand that it starts with me. My problem starts with me. You know, the problems that are around me is just like a storm. You know, there may be a twister, but there is peace within that storm, and it's in the eye. Meaning that I have to allow me to be at peace regardless of what's going on around me. Because if I stay focused on what's going on around me and the chaos and the turmoil, then I become a part of that chaos and turmoil. So that it's important that I maintain a certain stability within myself, and I see that I am my worst problem. I am my worst enemy. We have to realize this in order to stay focused on the solution. Meaning that I have to view what is a problem inside of me. Where have I been hurt as a child? Where have I been disappointed? Where have I made bad decisions? Where have I made wrong turns and choices in life that have led to me hanging with other people who are making wrong turns and choices? You know, it's very important that we begin to start looking at, you know, what part we're playing in the problem. We can't keep blaming other people, places, and things for the reason why there are so many problems in our lives. I am my worst problem. These people that do certain things that aren't right, that gives me no right to blame them and use them as an excuse for my issues. You know, yes, my mother was on drugs. Yes, my father, you know, wore that mask, you know, that cover up. I never got to see my father. But does that mean that I have to be a bad child? Does that mean I have to grow up to be a bad man? No. Just because my situation and my circumstances aren't as good as other children, that doesn't mean that I have to become bad. That doesn't mean that I have to become an adult who is still wearing a mask just like my father. I don't have to be like him. I can be better than him. But I have to identify the problems inside of myself. And I have to begin to address those issues. Issues of molestation. Issues of abandonment. Issues of being picked on. Abused. Issues that I had no power over. I couldn't change it. I couldn't stop it. I had to learn how to live through it. But me, I didn't choose to do that, and that's why you see me here in this cell. I'm here for a long time because I didn't change myself. The system had to place me somewhere where I could be changed. I'm so sorry that you know, my situation has to be what it is today. But I did this to myself. You know, nobody put a gun to my head and told me I better go out and get in trouble. I better go out and steal. I better go out and beat up people. You know, nobody made me do this. I did this to myself. My problem is me, my thinking. That's what got me in the situation I'm in today. And as a person who care about other people and don't want to see other people come to where I'm at, I'm asking you, please begin to change you. See what's wrong inside of you. See what problems have led up to you becoming who you are right now. You don't have to be in trouble like me. You don't have to embrace the pain. You have to let go of the pain, meaning you have to address it Tell somebody about it who cares and will help you walk out of that pain. There are people about you that will help you, but you have to ask for the help from the right people. It is our mission to express to each other the true nature of this disease that we call denial. Denial of reality can only be overcome by the willingness to get honest with ourselves. You know, it's a process. First, I have to look inside of me and see what has affected me negatively. And then I have to begin to address that issue by talking to someone about it. Seeing what I had control over and what I did not have control over. Where did I hold things on the inside? And where did I begin to lash out? You know, it's time to come to grips with being able to understand that we are not the pain that hurt us. That pain was brought on to let us know that there is something that we need to be doing in order to be treated for that pain. And that treatment comes with talking to people. It's just like going to a doctor. You have to tell the doctor what your signs and symptoms are in order for that doctor to be able to treat you. Are you having a bellyache? They know to check your belly. If you're having problems with your elbow, then they know to check your elbow. But if your problem is your heart, and because somebody hurt you or neglected you, then that's where we need to treat. That's where we need to go and look at. But we have to open up to the right people who care and are compassionate enough to help us out of this. That's why we have counselors, teachers, principals, social workers. These are people who can help us out of our problem areas. They can help us work through these things. We need each other. That's why in forming a bond, you form a bond with friends who are working out their problems. And they're still becoming beautifully guided kids who are still getting their education, who are still growing and living and building a life that makes them happy, not holding on to the pain and the frustration. You know, I say all of this to say, you know, when we identify the problem, let's identify what's going on in ourselves. As a group, let's identify what we are doing in our groups to this community, to this school, you know, to this hood, to this prison setting, wherever we're at. What are we doing? That's the problem. Because I can't fix these issues around me until we first learn to fix ourselves. And it starts with me. Okay? Okay, we're going to go on into step 3. After we identify the problem in step 2, step 3 comes into place, which is called express the importance of unity. After a person confronts the problem, it is wise to maintain a habit of reaching out to others to accept help and provide help. We must remember that this is a process where when we begin to learn things, we have to talk to people about it. So that not only do we work out our problems and get better understandings of what caused these problems, but we're also helping others to overcome their problems by identifying theirs. And together we work together on building these bonds, putting the problems out there, and find out that together, united, we can overcome these problems. We are a team. But we must build a team of people who are not wearing masks anymore, that are not portraying characters and playing roles. This is not about role playing. It's about being the human beings that God has brought us here to be. It's about being a friend, a neighbor, a fellow student of life. We grow together. We learn together. See, we work harder for each other than we work for ourselves. That's what gives us the strength to carry on days when we don't feel like doing things anymore. You know, one thing that we want to remind each other of is that it's very important. It's very important that we know, unless we strive to make friends of peaceful people, then we usually go back to those that act and think as we used to act and think. We have to continue to establish relationships and bonds and friendships with people who are healing too, or who have healed. And this is going to be uncomfortable at first, because this is not what we're used to doing. These are not the people we're used to being around. You know, now we're learning to switch to people who we are normally striving to make proud of us and having to like us. And this means that we have to use different tools. When they say keep it real, keeping it real means reality. What's the truth? What's really real? Because real doesn't wear a mask. Real doesn't have to act tough. Real doesn't have to portray an image. Real can be exactly who we are. Poor, without the things that other kids have or other men and women have. You know, being real is reality. It is what it is. I'm in my situation because this is just where I'm at today. And this is exactly where I need to be. Because this is what makes me stronger and stand on a firmer foundation. To look at my situation and realize that I got to set goals. And I got to be responsible about waking up each day and performing what I need to perform in order to achieve the goals that's going to take me to the level of life that I want to get to. But I got to get around other people who are doing the same. This is not easy, but it's not hard. It's just different from what we're used to. So I ask you, please, in step 3, express the importance of unification, uniting as one. We all have much more in common than we have different. You understand? It's so sad that we look for differences in people when we first meet them. Oh, they're short, they're tall, they're fat, they're skinny. You know, they have money, they're poor. No, they're another human being. They're another spirit. They're another loving person. And even if they're still sick in some ways, they want help too. But do we care enough to help ourselves and then reach out to help them too if they're willing to accept it? Please continue to express the importance of unity. Expressing the importance of unity. Another thing to remember is that getting into our individual heads is what led to our downfall. So it is a mandatory given that we use our group conscience to do for us what we cannot do for ourselves. You know, my best thinking got me into the worst trouble that I ever got into. You know, I tried to outthink, life. Life made me poor, so I went to stealing. You know, life made me feel like I was different from everybody, so I began to do what other people wanted me to do. And that is what led to me getting into a lot of trouble. So when we speak about unification and uniting with one another, it's more of a group conscious. That means we come together as a collective of people who are trying to do better. And not only trying, but now we are striving. Because once we begin to accomplish these things, we no longer use words like try. Try leaves too much room for failure. When you strive, that means you go hard at it and there is no room for failure. You do your best, and your best is enough just for today. Believe that. Your best is enough. Okay? Also, we want to look at the fact that we all need each other to be a force. This is to explain just how serious it is to come together. We need each other to be a force that I can't be by myself. Meaning I have to build a support group. That means I have to set up myself as though, as though if I am a person who loves to do things like play, who loves to do things like um, become professional, to be a help to my community, then I have to build a support group around me of brothers and sisters, friends, family members, professional people who are going to help support me and encourage me in what it is that I want to become. You know, they always say that if you want to be your best, be around the best. And that doesn't mean that you only hang around people who are better than you. But that means that you select certain people to be your mentor. You select certain people to be your encouragement. But you got to always remember that the only way you keep what you have is by giving it away. What you get from other people, you give to people who are seeking and looking for the same things that you're looking for. A better life, a better foundation, a better group of people to encourage you to be the best you can be. You know, when we are uniting with other people, we are uniting based on strong foundations. I don't have to be affiliated with a group of bad people in order to become strong. I can become strong with people who are good, who are loving, who are willing to sacrifice for their people. It's important that we remember this. Also, some among us are apt to go astray, to go back to what they are used to. But even these will not disrespect the momentum of the whole for various reasons. And when we speak about these reasons, they won't come in and corrupt what it is we have if they realize that, hey, the only thing we're trying to do is to become better. And eventually that trying will become striving, because there is no room for failure in us becoming better. We will be better. We will unite. We will become a force in life. We will make our streets better, our neighborhoods, our communities, wherever we're at in life. You have the ability to make that setting better. But you have to be able to unite with other people who are strong and are willing to do what it takes to make things better. If you want a better education, get with people who are getting better educations. If you want to learn more, get with people who can teach you more. If you want to become better at certain things, find people who have become better at those things and learn from them. Find ways that you can incorporate with them, that you can build alliances and come together. You know, it says that making allies is vital to the progress of the peace program. Each person must singularly pick and choose who is to be seated in the front row of their lives. You know, your life is right here. And those 5 to 10 people that you are amongst the most are a collection of who motivates you to be who you are today. So you know that if you're having to be a tough guy, then you are amongst people who are looking to you to wear that mask and portray that image of a tough guy. No. Be around people who are willing to allow you to take off that mask and strive to be the best you. Show them who you are, who you've always wanted to be, and encourage them to be who they always wanted to be. Nobody needs to wear masks anymore. We are uniting as people who take off the mask and begin to contribute to our families, to our communities around us. We are continuing what it is that God started at the day of our birth. And that's turning us into the people who can help affect change about us. The only way I can change something around me is if I can change myself and become who it is that I've always wanted to be. They say Once you find something that you love to do, you'll never have to work another day in your life. Don't you want to stop working? Don't you want to have a detail or a job that actually is a blessing to have? A blessing to wake up each morning to go to, because you know you're fulfilling what's inside of you, your heart, your desires. It's not hard. It's not hard. It's actually a blessing. Because just me sitting here speaking to you, this, even where I'm at, is what I love to do. I love to help people. I love to encourage people. And that's what I'm doing. So even though I'm in here, God has blessed me with an ability to help you not come here. And that keeps me alive. That keeps my spirit strong. That keeps me encouraged. I have the courage of a lion, a tiger, you know, because I'm going after what it is that I know God put in my heart from the very first day I was born. And that's to be somebody that can influence people to be who they are, not who other people try to make people out to be. You have nothing to fear in who you are. Love you and get with other people who love themselves. And together you become a force. Remember that in building of this that we're striving for, we must use the talents of others. Meaning there are others who have gained talents and have gained education. And so we have to utilize them and use their abilities in order to perfect our own. You know, we have things about us that we want to become better at. But I have to tap into other people's resources. And how did they do this? Question them. How did you become so professional, Mr. Doctor? How did you become so intelligent? You know, teacher? You know, ask the counselor, how did you become so loving toward people? And then you will begin to understand from them what steps they took. And you can follow in those steps. Nobody did it alone. Not even the greats. They learned from somebody. But the question is, when we express the importance of unity, are you willing to become teachable? Are you willing to become a student and gradually graduate into the person that you've always wanted to be? We must unite, because once we unite, now we can take the problems that we identified in the last step and go to the next step, step 4, meaning getting to the solution. Now this solution is step 4, and by step 4 we have, in step 1, formed bonds. In step 2, we identified my problem, our problem then, and then we got into expressing the importance of unity, coming together and embracing our problems, understanding our problems, and now we're ready to get into the solution. The solution is ready to be entered after these men have recognized their brokenness. These sisters have recognized their own brokenness and the brokenness of our community, and ready to go through almost any obstacle to fix this brokenness. As they learn to work with and surround themselves with people in whom the problem has been solved, they are prepared for the presentation of the solution. Knowing what the problem is, if I know that my problem is anger, it's hurt from being raised a certain way that wasn't right. If my problem is the way that I portray a character and put on that mask, then my solution is the direct opposite of that. If my problem is anger, then I begin to go for peace. Peace has no way for anger. If my problem is wearing a mask, I learn how to take the mask off by realizing, why did I have that mask on? Was I trying to be who my friends wanted me to be? Was I trying to fit in? Was I trying to be accepted?